All right, welcome into the GGG Podcast, episode 42. We got a good show for you today. Lots of good news coming out. Or, I mean, I don't know if it's good news, but it's substantial news, substantive news. So I'm excited to talk about it. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the Golden Glazed Gaming channel on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a follow or a review over there. That would help us out a lot. Joining me, as always, is the master himself, Philbo Fraggins. Philbo, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say this, Paul. I think there is some good news in this news. There's some cool stuff in there. But also
there it is.
There it is. No, it's all pretty good stuff. It's been a crazy week. You and I have streamed Marvel Rivals. We'll get to talk about that a little bit later. I will say this week, for the most part, I have been playing Multiversus. They just released their whole new seasonal thing. I bought it so that I could play as Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack is busted. I am ruining people's days with him. It feels pretty good.
The paid character is OP? I've never heard of that before. Oh my goodness.
People are hating on Samurai Jack for sure. Like, they get upset when they see him in a lobby. But I'm playing ranked now, so if you quit, you lose. If you quit, you lose. But yeah, it's really, really fun. He's also, for his down maneuver, he goes into a meditative state. So when you knock someone out, I just meditate. It's a very powerful move.
Wow.
And I don't mean in the game. I mean it's a power move.
Right.
But
it's big dick energy. Right.
Yeah, exactly. What have you been playing this week?
Some usual suspects, still playing a lot of the finals. Finally made my way into silver rank. Thank goodness. Gold is next. But
Final Z, baby.
I've played so much. I've actually I'm almost through the entire battle pass for this season, and there are a lot of levels in the battle pass. So I'm kind of proud of that, kind of ashamed. I don't know. It's a mixed feeling. So been playing lots of that. Still been playing No Man's Sky. Played a little bit of Starfield again, just messing around in the ship customizer. A little dash of Helldivers here and there. Played Marvel Rivals on my own after we streamed. So that's been fun as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, last week I actually played quite a bit of Hades 2. But I forgot to mention it on the podcast. And I was like, I should have brought that up, because I went on this amazing run where I actually finally got to the end boss of Hades 2.
Very nice.
I had actually beaten two bosses I had never beaten before on a single run to get there, and I was like, oh my god,
I am a god.
Yeah,
yeah, that's amazing.
What happens to me, as usual with roguelikes, is once I do that, I die, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not gonna top that. So I'm just going to stop now, because I'm not going to do better the second time.
Well, time to never play again. No, I definitely feel that.
It's time to come back to this in a month. But that's pretty much been it. Got a new job, so a little bit more busy. But yeah, I'm excited.
I do have a question for you.
I do have an answer.
So you got the battle pass for the finals.
Yeah.
I feel this is a good discussion topic.
Ooh.
How much time do you need to play a game where you feel like buying the battle pass is warranted? Or if there's not a number, are there games where you feel like, okay, I'm going to get the battle pass because I played this for a couple hundred hours?
Oh, a couple hundred hours? If you played it a couple hundred hours, you should be buying the battle pass.
You should. I feel like you should give them a little bit of money, because Fortnite is that game where I'm like, I've gotten so many hours of joy out of this. Here's $10 every 3 times, 4 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of a complicated answer, because one, it depends if the game is free to play for me. The finals is free to play, And so, like, I think I bought the first Battle Pass, and then I bought Season 3 Battle Pass, which is this one. I skipped Season 2, and, you know, like, when it's a free-to-play game, I'm a little bit more willing to buy a Battle Pass because I understand, like, I'm having fun with this thing. I should give them some money for this fun that I'm having. So
I owe them something.
Yeah, so like if it's a strictly like multiplayer game, I think if you've played it more than 15 hours, you should get the battle pass.
Okay.
So, but it's not all battle passes are equal. Again, it's a free to play game. Like Chivalry 2 has a battle pass that I don't think is really that good. Like I even released a video of pushing for a battle pass on our YouTube channel years ago. And they went ahead and did it, but the progression with that battle pass, it just takes so much time. I feel like with the finals, it's like if I play a match in the finals, I'm like getting a guaranteed 2 levels on the battle pass.
That's pretty good.
And
That's
so
nice.
It's like there's a good sense of progression. So like again, yeah, not all are equal. If it's a free to play game, I'm a little bit more willing to dole out the cash though. So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, I also have to say I played one more thing. It's the new Magic the Gathering set. It's a bunch of cute little critters. It's very Redwall inspired.
Okay.
But there was an event called a pre-release where you go to a local game store. They give you 6 like booster packs, and then you build a deck and play it against everybody else there.
Oh my goodness.
I did that this weekend at our local Geeky Tees game shop, and I won the whole damn thing. I beat everybody there, 0 losses. Everybody can suck my butt.
That's why you got the guns out today.
Boom. I feel like a king of small, cute critters. Let's go.
That's great. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, that counts. It's a game. That counts.
It's a game. It's a game. It counts. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. All right. It's a strategy game, obviously. So, all right. Let's get into this week's episode of the podcast. So we have our first, actually our only major release this week is Deadlink coming out on PS5. This is a cel-shaded roguelike shooter. Looks pretty interesting. You know, it's not necessarily my thing. It looks a little like, hey, if you just want a roguelike shooter, this is a first-person roguelike shooter. This is the game for you. So if you're really into roguelikes, maybe you'll be really into this. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Risk of Rain in how it looked. Not necessarily the art direction, but the art style, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it looks interesting. Probably not something I'm going to pick up, but it is out today as we are recording the podcast. So I wanted to make sure we brought it up.
Yeah, seeing the footage, I'm not a big first-person shooter roguelike guy. I love roguelikes, but first-person shooters give me like a weird vibe because it feels like something's got to be cheap to like make this work, if that makes sense. Like the reoccurring rooms, the changing dungeons, something's gonna be wonky. But it did kind of give me vibes of what's that game where time only moves when you do?
Oh, the VR game?
Yeah, it's also like not a VR game. It's also a first-person shooter, but I can't remember the title of it. Someone at home is screaming right now. But the graphics kind of gave me that like shade of that game.
Sure. Comment below with what this game is.
Comment below, and also call me a big old silly dumpkins. But yeah, glad to see it's out there. For me, I'm gonna pass on Deadlink. I almost called it Dunkirk PS5.
Yes. The top comment on YouTube was that the sequel is going to be called Dead Zelda. So, all right.
Nice.
Well, with that, let's press on into the news. Like Louise said earlier, lots of good news stories. The first one is some news about Dragon Age Veilguard. They're out here bragging about the amount of characters and amount of voice lines that they have. They have over 700 voiced NPCs in the game. So they're very proud about that fact. And they have over 140,000 lines of dialogue, which I'm a little bit more suspicious of that, because when you say lines, what does that mean? Do you mean a literal line in a script, or is that a line of a character, which could be like a monologue, or is one monologue really 11 lines? You know, so I think that's a little. I don't really know what the point is of like announcing these numbers, other than to be like, hey, Baldur's Gate fans, you can have conversations and relationships in our game too. Like, so I don't know. Is this impressive to you, seeing these numbers, Phil?
Oh, absolutely. But in another way, it's also very discouraging. I I don't have the time to listen to 1,400 lines of dialogue or whatever. I just want to go in there and I want to hit some ghouls and goblins with my sword or my bow and arrow or my magic. Uh, yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely like appealing to, like you said, like Baldur's Gate fans. Look, this game is going to be full and rich, and like you'll have these deep relationships that go through lines and lines of dialogue. It's very cool, and if it's seamless, it's a lot of fun. But I feel like this is the type of thing that like you should find out afterwards.
Sure.
You're just so enriched in the game, and then you find out like they recorded how much for this. That's crazy. I think doing it ahead of time as like a promotional tool feels a little bit gimmicky.
I completely agree. I don't really know what I think. I think this is something, if what they wanted to do is what our theory was of like bragging to trying to get that Baldur's Gate community in on this. I think the ideal thing to do is do like a short dev doc, where it's like, this is a 6-minute video where we talk about the casting process and we talk about the different characters in the game. And like they do a little bit of that legwork, instead of just doing an interview where we're going to show you some numbers. And it's like, well, that's great, but I don't really know what that looks like practically in the game. So like, all right, with 700 characters that have dialogue, is that if I bump into an NPC on the street and he goes, "Excuse me," did that count as a freaking line of dialogue that you're counting in this number of characters that you have assembled? Like, what are we talking about here? So it's just a little loosey goosey. I don't love it. Not the best marketing. I'm sure the PR guy in the office or person or woman or whoever is just like, yeah, maybe you didn't need to brag about that. So
they just recently announced one of the voice actors, Erika Ishii, who's Valkyrie in Apex Legends, will be playing Rook, which I believe is I think Rook might be the player character. And I might be completely wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Erica's, I guess, playing the female voice lines for that, which is pretty cool. I've heard her in a bunch of stuff, and always like her work. So I mean, that would have even been more of an interesting thing, is like doing a little behind the scenes where you get to interview the cast and like they talk about their characters. That would be more fun than just being like, there is so much dialogue, you are gonna be put to sleep. Like, that's, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Totally. All right. Well, pressing right along, because there's not much else to say about that. So we actually got a closer look at Quidditch Champions. We got some actual released gameplay, not just some flashy logos, you know, no cartoony cinematic thing. It's like we got some gameplay for Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Very exciting. And also with the news that it's going to be coming free to PlayStation Plus for the first month. It's not a PlayStation exclusive. You can also get it on PC and Xbox as well, but it will cost $30 at launch and $30 after that initial month of PlayStation Plus. So that's exciting for PlayStation fans. As far as the gameplay that we actually got to see, Phil, what were your initial impressions with this?
Well, I am, of course, very stoked because I loved the Quidditch game that existed way back in the day for like the original Xbox. It was kind of a tie-in with the Harry Potter series of games, but also like kind of an actual sports game just about Quidditch, like as if it was a real thing. So it looks like it's taken a lot of those old bones and just HD remastered, but in a way that makes sense. Like they obviously made this game from the ground up. But it's like same rules. You're playing mostly as the I can't remember the name of the position because it's made up and it's from a book series that I read more than 15 years ago.
There was the
But
bludger, the
the
seeker,
bludger, it's
the
not the keeper. You're playing as like the quaffle holder, the person who throws
chaser.
the.
No,
Maybe it's no. I think it is a chaser.
it's a chaser.
Yeah, chasers, beaters, seekers, and keepers.
Okay.
So you're playing mostly as a chaser and like scoring individual goals, and then there comes a sequence where you play as the seeker and you have to like fly through certain rings to like get the golden snitch.
Right.
So it's a bunch of flight challenges. There's also customization, single player and multiplayer modes. So it looks very fun. I'm very happy that it's going to be a $30 game because it kind of like it crosses the veil of that free to play jank where you don't trust it. Like how much are you going to play this game before I hit the wall? And it's also like, okay, well, it's not a full game, so I'm happy it's not $60 or $70.
Right.
But 30 is like right in that zone where it could be something simple and fun, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful it's going to be free on PlayStation Plus because I was not sure if I was going to buy it. I do agree with you. Like $30 feels like a perfect price for this game for the amount of content. So yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'll definitely download it since it's free. So, but yeah, I'm wondering what kind of if there's going to be different modes. Like, is there a mode without a seeker? Like, what does ranked mode feel like? Are you playing on a full team of people, or are you one person against another person where it's like you're playing FIFA online where you're trying to you play as the whole team, like, or you're playing it as an individual player? So I'm curious to see how they work that out, but I'm sure they will figure it out and it'll be good. So yeah, it also reminds me of that old Quidditch game as well, which I played.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I used to play that and listening to Switchfoot's first and probably only album on repeat.
okay.
That was my whole childhood experience. So I'm gonna have to find that song. You know, "We Will Live for Something More" for all my Switchfoot fans out there.
Yeah,
there are dozens of us.
Oh man.
You know what? This next story got me really excited until I realized I saw some of the news about it and a little bit of that in me died, but I have a very interesting angle to talk about this next story from.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns DLC revealed is the title of it. We've seen some of the new characters that are cropping up. Actually, tying into our former, I believe, Eric Ishii is playing another character in this. She's a friend of mine on Instagram, so I'm seeing a lot of her stories. Anywho,
Sure.
They revealed their new characters. It says Chaos in a way with K that I thought was Kratos, and I thought, oh, is Kratos going to be in Mortal Kombat? And that got me really excited of 2018 Ragnarok Kratos being in this game would be perfect. But no, we're getting some new characters.
Yep, getting new characters as usual. Getting some Conan the Barbarian, getting the robots in there, Noob Cybots coming in. We got another Terminator in there, so that's interesting. And then, of course, we got the villain from Scream.
Of course.
That's what we needed in the game. So yeah, Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns is their story DLC. And sorry for you, Phil. I put the wrong link in there. It's on IGN.
Found the trailer.
That is the source. I use IGN as a source for this one. And so it's a story DLC, and I really enjoyed MK11's story DLC. So come on, camera, get center on my face.
Catch me, camera.
There we go. So I really enjoyed MK11's story DLC. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the characters they added were great. But for me, this kind of continues the lacklusterness of Mortal Kombat 1. It seems like another meaningless story. It's a very minor spoiler. I won't say any details, but the end of Mortal Kombat 1, devolves into this multiverse of madness crap in my opinion. And so I just really didn't like it. It's just chaos, and I get it. And so one of the villains is from a different universe, and he's coming in and he wants to make chaos. And it's so immediately when you blow up this multiverse thing, for me, the story stakes kind of fall through the map. And I think that MK11's story DLC, that whole game MK11 was about time travel. And so it's already with time travel, it's like the stakes are a little rocky as it is, because you're like, well, why can't they just go back in time and fix it and blah, 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 and all this shit. And with this multiverse stuff, it's just like, well, why can't they just go to another universe and get another character and blah, 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 blah. And so, which is something we're experiencing in a lot of nerdy media right now, just this multiverse fatigue that is going on. And so that's what this feels like, and the fact that they're putting in Arnold Schwarzenegger in the game again as Conan the Barbarian, it does feel cool, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys probably ported the Arnold Schwarzenegger model from MK11,
Well, I mean, you pay for that model once, you got to reuse it.
I guess, and then the fact that they're like, oh, we're gonna do another Terminator. It's just a different Terminator we're putting in the game. So I will not be buying this at its full price of $50 frickin' dollars.
That's insane. That's Warner Brothers for you, though.
Yeah, well, at least it's not an Optimus Prime skin. So,
I am gonna hold out my money until they give me the Arnold Schwarzenegger Jingle All the Way character.
There we go.
Then I'm back in, baby. You got my $50. I will say, as much as this is an outrageously priced DLC, for the new characters and everything, okay, $10 a character, I guess, something like that. But it is cool to see a fighting game get story-related DLC.
Yeah, that is true.
I think it speaks to just the quality of, or their commitment to storytelling in fighting games, which I think is something that's always made the Mortal Kombat games kind of stand out compared to the Street Fighter games, which I feel like has been their main competitor. So,
sure. Yeah, I mean, they're the American fighting game,
Yeah. That's as bright-sidey as I can get about it, especially finding out it's $50. And then adding Ghostface feels weird. But
yeah, I mean, like, again, like, I think that Aftermath, which was the MK11 DLC, I think it was also $50. And I guess what was really important about that is that the story actually fed into this new Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
That's
like part of the reboot thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like if you only played MK11, you did not play the DLC, there are story beats missing that relate in the new Mortal Kombat that you will have missed out on. But I guess because of my personal multiverse fatigue, I worry that whatever is going to happen is going to be inconsequential. So yeah. But yeah,
makes sense.
It's good that they're still pumping out content with a K. So, yay!
Apparently, also animalities are making a return in this.
Yes, that is true. That's something a little bit more fun. I saw a fun one with a hippo. Lots of fun animalities. So that is pretty cool.
I'll give them that.
Yeah. But I can watch a YouTube video of those. I don't need to buy it.
It's very true. Yeah. YouTube kind of really did take the wind out of Mortal Kombat sales.
I mean, out of the fatalities and stuff, because you're
that was it. That used to be a big reason to play, because you're like, what wild, crazy thing are they gonna do? They're gonna turn him into a baby and knock him onto a spike or whatever.
Straight to baby murder for Phil.
Straight
to baby murder.
I'm not cursing for the YouTube, but I'm gonna say some wild stuff for the YouTube. Take that, algorithm.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about this next one, Phil? Or
absolutely.
Yeah. Something that affects us both.
Something that affects us all. So SAG-AFTRA members voted to go on a strike regarding work for video games, and this is mostly due to concerns over AI and its place in the industry. It is definitely an interesting thing because AI, for a long time, has had at least its fingertips in gaming. Like, you have to build AI to handle how NPCs will interact in a lot of
Yeah.
instances.
Yeah.
Um, but now it is getting to the place where it's kind of like replacing people and doing things like doing voice imprints and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that is currently the reason for the strike. um, let's see, there's a lot of big game studios: Activision, Disney, Electronic Arts, Insomniac, Take Two, there and WB Games are all on the list. Notably, though, Grand Theft Auto 6 is unaffected by the strike, and live service titles games are.
But Take Two
So,
Interactive is affected, right?
yes. I don't know exactly why Grand Theft Auto is unaffected by the strike, unless they've done all their voice stuff already, or maybe it's because they were in production prior to September 2023.
Right.
Um,
I mean, I've heard mixed things when it comes to Grand Theft Auto. So,
mhm.
like, I know that article that we're citing. I'll double check it here. But
I've heard that from a couple different sources, though, and I wonder if it's one of those things where they're like, "Listen, we gotta keep working on Grand Theft Auto, because if we are the reason that Grand Theft Auto 6 gets further delayed, people are not going to be on our side." I wonder if there's a degree of that in there as well. Um, but
yeah, I don't know. We don't know exactly the details of it. But yeah, this is something that, Phil and I, we both live in Los Angeles. And our social security number is, and so,
I'm gonna
but
put a sign outside my front door that says "GGG takes place here. Come get some of my skin."
oh my god. But yeah, so like I've done voiceover before. Phil, I believe you've done voiceover as well, and
Mhm.
so this is something that I think tech heads and gamers they think they have the opinion of like AI is good because it's going to make things easier, and I think it'll make some things easier, and I can agree with it to an extent. I think we've all seen like the fun mods like in Skyrim where it's like, oh, you put in this AI mod and you can talk to all the NPCs and you can ask them actual things and they'll be able to respond to you. And I think like when you're talking about like regular NPCs or like the extras in the game, I think that that's really cool because you're talking about a level of dialogue that in order to record an actor in a video game doing all this dialogue for an NPC, it's too much. It's kind of like, No Man's Sky, where it's a generated universe. They can't, if it's actually the size of the universe, they can't actually
Generate
physically,
all that stuff.
yeah, they can't
Yeah.
do it by, you can't make every planet by hand. They have to generate it. And
Mhm.
so I think when it comes to like smaller characters or interacting with like, oh, this is the cashier at the general store or whatever, I think that that's fine. But when it comes to like phasing actors out of like principal roles in the game, that's not good at all, especially when
Yeah.
you're taking actors' voices and you're
And
being
their
like,
likenesses. Yeah.
yeah, and for those people who don't know how like a lot of performer contracts work, is a lot of the time they'll be like, "Hey, we're going to give you $500 to use your AI generated voice." And whereas if they had called that actor in to actually record all the lines, you could talk about thousands and perpetually way more amounts of money, because the amount of work that you have to go in and do at the studio.
Mhm.
And so, like, I'm happy that the strike is happening. It was always going to happen
Mhm.
with AI voiceover like being as big and getting as good as it's getting now. But I think we've all seen like the online advertisements or the TikToks or the YouTube shorts of like you hear like, God, this voice is in everything. I'm just hearing this voice over and over again. So
Mhm. But one of our favorites here on the show, the finals, actually was kind of under fire because it used uh, AI voice acting for the announcers.
Yeah.
Which I think thematically in a weird way kind of fits for the finals, but also I think that's a way that like I don't know. It's a bummer because it's getting someone less of a job, but it also means the voice lines can like update over time and like things can change in this sort of live service game. That said, it would be ideal if that was the case and it could happen quickly and effectively and someone could get paid for it.
Sorry, finish your thought.
I just mean it's kind of a double-edged sword because like for gamers, like it's cool to get new content and to get characters that are more immersive that you could talk to and have a full conversation with. But I also think that it's taking a little bit of the art out of the art because a part of it is not just the the written lines, but the performance of those lines.
Right.
So
totally. Yeah, like I was against the finals with that. And something that I don't like about the finals approach to the AI is that there's not a lot of announcing in the game. And so even though, they have announcers going back and forth and whatnot, when you're playing the game, they don't really talk that much. And I was like, if this wasn't a huge amount of lines, then you could have just paid actors to come in and record these lines because it's not. I play the finals a lot, and it's not often that I hear something original come out of these generated, bots. So, so it's just like if it's just 20 pages of lines, like get an actor in there and do 20 pages of lines. Give
them a day rate. It'll be easy.
Yeah. Again, like if I'm asking, an NPC in a tavern, like, what did you think of the Solarian War? I don't know why since I went Mass Effect with Solarian.
Pretty good.
But, you weren't able to record that dialogue. You get an AI talking to you. That's fine. But it's just, I think it's about the quantity of the work. If it's an insurmountable quantity, then I get why you would use AI for it. So,
totally.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see. We'll keep you guys up to date what happens with that strike. Hopefully, it doesn't delay too many things, and hopefully, the companies just pay the actors what they deserve, and things can get on track toward production. So
that'd be sick if we just paid people what they deserved as a society.
Yeah.
Wild.
Hey,
you know how... Okay, so I think of the stories that we've covered so far, we have had one definitively good news, and that is Quidditch Champions. Looks fun.
Yes.
Boom, good news. The rest of it, kind of iffy. Next bit, 100% good news in my opinion.
It is. It's great news.
Concord. I keep wanting to say Concord because that's a town near a place where I grew up in.
Sure.
Concord has no battle pass.
Woo! Oh, yeah. All right.
You buy the game. It's all in there. You unlock it when you want. You don't got to play at a certain time frame. You don't have to worry about getting something done while you're waiting. The official line from the company is, you own Concord. Concord does not own you.
Ooh.
That's brilliant.
Boom.
Drop the mic. Take that, Fortnite. Take that, Apex Legends.
For real. Oh my god. What a great line. Now that's some good PR right there. That's some great freaking PR. So I think that's fantastic. I'll be honest, I'm a little confused by it because I don't know how they're going to continue to monetize the game. If there's no battle pass. So maybe, do you think there's going to be a store or something like that? Or
I bet you just characters you can buy and unlock. Like, I feel like that's a pretty tried and true, maybe if not a bit old way to do it.
Sure. Or if there's new content and you want the new content, you just buy the new content.
That new content. Yeah.
Like DLC used to be. That would be amazing. So
can I say how weird it is that we're fighting for the way DLC used to be?
It's because it sucked when it was announced.
Yeah, it has gone so far downhill that we're like, please just let us pay you for stuff that should have been in the game.
Yeah.
Please. Don't make me come from work and do work at the thing I used to enjoy.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, I'm super pumped about this. For those who don't know, Concord is $40 at launch. But again, it's like you own the game. And like I've put in a lot of hours to the finals. I've only bought 2 battle passes. So it's $20. I've spent $20 on the finals. So immediately I've already spent more money on Concord without a battle pass. And I don't know. I wonder how they're going to keep players engaged. Like, you think they'll do events? They got to do events and stuff like that, right?
Probably. I'm guessing just new content, new maps. Hopefully even some new game modes would be great, but I know they're kind of a small development team. I just like the approach of like, hey, just if you want the game, buy it, but it's not like the type of thing that you have to invest a bunch of time in. You play it when you want. You don't have to like play it according to some of their schedule, being like, oh, I've got 6 more days before the battle pass goes away. Let's just do your own thing.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so the gameplay animation director over at Firewalk, that's whose quote it was for You Own Concord, Concord Doesn't Own You. He had previously worked on Call of Duty Warzone. And so talk about a jaded guy. So he's out there and he's making a difference. Gosh darn it.
He's like a pilot who worked for the Empire, and like it's like, now I vow to take them down with my skills that they taught me.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
We are the spark that ignites the fire that is the resistance.
Somehow Call of Duty has returned.
DLC has returned. Yeah, super exciting news there. Nothing bad about that. Love it. Love to see it. And speaking of Call of Duty, let's get into our little debacle of the week. Ba-da-ba-ba, who screwed up this week, Phil? Who was it?
Call of Duty. They turned off skill-based matchmaking because screw you, idiot. You want to try to play a game? Too bad. You got to play with these Adderall-addicted 12-year-olds who can shoot back in time for some reason. Enjoy that.
I don't understand at all. Like, why?
This has to be a move because they've run out of players. Like, their player base has to be dwindling because there's a lot of other things to play at this point. And at this point, also, Call of Duty's like long-term multiplayer stuff is kind of, I mean, they're usually on a 1-year cycle. This is a 2-year gap for them. They have to be running out of people. So they're just turning off skill-based matchmaking to be like, we've got 30 people playing. Go get it. You know?
I mean, there's definitely more than 30 people playing, but
yes, totally. But
they actually found that when they turned off matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking, that more players were likely not to return to the game after in a 14-day period is how they were measuring it. And so they in trying to rejuvenate some player base, they actually made more players.
Diminished it.
Like, so that's just a frickin' win, Call of Duty. Also, like, why would you, like, if I was a Call of Duty gamer, it's like, why on earth would I, if I'm in Silver League and you put me up against a plat, I'm going to get my butt kicked. Like, I'm going to get slaughtered out there. Why would you do that to players? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. So, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely insane move. But again, I think it's just they're like, we got to do something. We got to figure out how to get these people not being like 10-minute long queues. And that's my guess.
Yeah, but yeah, dumb thing. Call of Duty, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you need to do as a franchise. I think maybe you stop and try again later.
Dumb ways to irrelevance. Let's talk about something more relevant.
Okay.
Because we just talked about it earlier on this show.
Okay.
Multiversus, a data leak reports that 2 new fighters will be joining us, outside of Samurai Jack and later Beetlejuice. But Barbie and Harry Potter due to make their debut in Dexter's Laboratory, or Batman's Batcave, or wherever.
Sure. Yeah.
One of the arenas. How do you feel about this? Barbie and Harry Potter as characters.
I think they're slam dunks. Like, I think Barbie is definitely kind of like what we talked about last week with the Beetlejuice announcement, where it's kind of like, okay, this is Warner Brothers being like, look at our franchises. But it's like, yeah, that's if you're going to have that problem with multiverses, you're just not going to like the game because that's what the game is. So
that's what it is.
But I think Barbie, with the success of the movie, Barbie is iconic. It's a slam dunk. It's perfect. Like, you need more, female characters in there. Like, I think you could do a lot of quirky things. Like, I wonder if they'll model her after Barbie or model her after Margot Robbie's Barbie.
There's got to be a Margot Robbie Barbie skin.
Probably.
Also, 2 characters played by Margot Robbie in this game.
Mm-hmm. And so, will there be a Harley Margot Robbie skin as well? So
I would personally love it, but okay, Paul, challenge
accept
on live on the show.
Okay, here we go.
I want us to work up several moves that Barbie or Harry Potter will have in the game.
Okay.
So I think obviously one of Barbie's is she's going to have her dream car, and kind of her charge attack is hitting you with the dream car.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Gizmo has.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think it'll be very accessory based. So you brought up the car. Like, I'm not super familiar with all the Barbie accessories, but when I saw the movie, and I think I've seen it twice now, but like just all of the just all of the little accessory like cameos and Easter eggs that were in there. So I don't. Do you think Ken will be featured in a move? Maybe.
I think that'd be pretty cool. She grabs Ken by the ankles and hits somebody with him.
Sure.
I think it's possible that her up B is like bursting out of a box appears around and she bursts out of it.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I would like that. Let's move over to Harry Potter. What are some moves? Do you think he's busting out into Avada Kedavra on people?
No.
Damn.
No, that's not happening. I think you're definitely gonna get up on your broom, that's he can fly for a little bit or a short period of time or something like that.
He flies up and catches the snitch, and that's the point of highest impact damage or something.
Sure. I definitely think one of his down moves will be him using the invisibility cloak.
Very cool.
I could see also some accessory things being included with that, like chocolate frogs, something like that.
Pulling the sort of Gryffindor out of a hat, hitting somebody with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the
Pretty
sword.
Cool.
Yeah. That would be awesome. And then you're gonna have some basic spells in there. Maybe Wingardium Leviosa is his grab. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool.
I'm guessing his dodges will be like the in the movies when they apparate, where they kind of that white smoke stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, I guess the real question is how old are they going to go with Harry Potter? Is this Harry Potter in his 3rd year, or is this Harry Potter in the last movie? So I think because of the cartoony aesthetic, they're probably not going to go Harry Potter 1, but they'll probably go in that 3rd to 5th year kind of Harry Potter thing, and so he's probably not going to be doing. He's going to do his instead of Avada Kedavra.
To do Expelliarmus?
Yeah, definitely Expelliarmus, but I was thinking of his Patronus charm with the stag.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely...
That'd be a good finisher.
Definitely see that. Slam dunk characters. I think they'll make great additions, and they're huge franchises that are, again, they're going to pull in people to play this game. My girlfriend who's played Multiversus a couple times, she really loves Samurai Jack, and so when she saw Samurai Jack was coming out, she's like, "Okay, I think I'll play Multiversus." And now that Barbie's coming to Multiversus, she's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna play."
I'm gonna stick with Multiversus.
Yeah,
I'd also love Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab in Multiversus.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Warner Brothers, when you get a little moment, just come on over. Just give us some DD.
My number one character is I want the Toonami guy.
Yeah.
So His name is Tom,
I wouldn't mind.
I think.
I wouldn't mind. My new dream pick is the Aqua Teen Hunger Force as different characters.
Oh man, that would be awesome. I don't know if that was gonna happen. All right, so pressing on to our last news story, just came out this morning. Helldivers 2 getting a new Warbond. As we press through the galactic war, and this Warbond is called Freedom's Flame. It is a Warbond I have been asking for since the game came out. I have wanted fire armor and more fire weapons because I love burning up some bugs, and this does exactly that. In it, there are new skins for the mechs, your hell pods, and your ships. There are 2 new sets of what seems to be implied flame proof or flame retardant armor. So hopefully you'll get some sort of fire resistance. I don't know if it's going to be like immunity, but at least maybe it'll be like harder to catch on fire or just does less damage or something like that. And then we also got some new weapons with a flaming pistol sidearm and then a flaming primary weapon that is a flamethrower.
That's pretty cool.
So like you could have the heavy flamethrower, you could have a flamethrower main, and you could have
a flamethrower pistol,
and flamethrower grenades, which I mean flame grenades are already in the game. So like that is
damn,
and it is
absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit. So. Thank you.
I gotta give it up. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Well done.
The game is fire. But anyway, it's coming 2 days after the major update that's going to be coming to Helldivers, Escalation of Freedom, that's coming August 6th. And then the Warbond Freedom's Flame is coming August 8th. So that is going to be a Helldivers week for me. I can tell you that much.
Oh, so, time to get back into it. Yeah,
I am
absolutely
stoked to the max about it. It's actually only a week away. So that's cool. Very exciting. So,
Helldivers has really been MVP this year of like, hey, you want to try something? Like first the game came out and we're all like, what the butts is this? And then all of a sudden we're playing it. And every couple months like, hey, come check this out. We got some cool new stuff for you. And I'm like, oh, of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
So truly the dry spell of 2024 has been abated for the most part due to the hardworking hands over there at Helldivers 2. Very, very happy to see that they're continuing to like just give us pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
On a nice clip.
An excellent clip. Phenomenal.
An excellent clip.
Yes. Anyway, yes, let's press on. I want to talk about our main topic.
Let's get there.
We're running out of time, so I want to make sure we get it some opportunity to talk about it. So Marvel's Rivals, that's what we're talking about. Phil and I have both played the beta. Phil was generous enough to give me a beta code. We streamed it earlier this week. I'm probably going to stream it again, perhaps tomorrow, actually. But I was also thinking about streaming some finals as well. But Marvel Rivals, we both got an opportunity to kind of sink our teeth into it. Phil, I think you've played it probably a little bit more than me, and I know we've discussed it a little bit, but I think now we can actually have a true back and forth that we've both played it. So like, where do you stand with it right now? I know you're a Venom main, so where are you at with it right now?
I don't think I've played since the stream, not because of any ill will towards it, but I think I did find that like, oh yeah, playing with someone else is a lot of fun, and I've mostly been playing by myself at that point. But I will say I am very excited for the full release of this game. It already feels like it's in a pretty good place, but they're doing a lot of like technical testing and like balancing and like kind of fine tuning at this point. And last week I said I had an issue where the game was crashing. Once I updated my graphics drivers, it has worked perfectly. I've had 1 or 2 crashes. I think I had one during the stream, but I was like able to get right back into the match and continue the game. Really just kind of like, and definitely an Overwatch clone, yes, while also being a love letter to Marvel characters and that IP. Really, really fun. I'm excited to play more. Paul, where did you land on it?
Yeah, I will, just jumping off of what you said, it is an Overwatch clone. It very, like, I think, we've covered a lot of Concord this last month, but specifically, like everybody's been saying that Concord is an Overwatch clone, and to me, playing Marvel Rivals really is like, no, this is the Overwatch clone. Like, this is Overwatch with Marvel's characters. Like, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, because, like, frankly, I'm more interested in this than playing Overwatch for simple reasons. Like, oh, there's destructible environments, which is something Overwatch 2 promised to add and never did.
Never delivered on it, like many other things.
Like
so
many other things. Yeah. So it feels like Overwatch. The gameplay feels like Overwatch. The even the aiming and the reticle feel like Overwatch aiming and reticles. You know, some of the characters, they are directly Overwatch characters. Like you brought up, like Star-Lord is just like Tracer, and oh God, who was I playing?
Magneto is pretty much Reinhardt. If you like, he can shoot, but he just makes a big shield. He's even got like a beard and is like just a stocky character.
Yep. Groot is kind of like May. You know, you have Adam Warlock is Mercy, essentially. And so there's a lot of kind of blatantly obvious characters that are like, oh, this is this Overwatch character. Oh, this is the Hulk is Winston, you know, like I got it. And that makes sense. But I guess in Concord, it did feel like these are Destiny characters, not Overwatch
in an
characters.
Overwatch game. Yeah.
Well, yes. But regardless of it being like Overwatch, I think the game is really solid. I think they have a good repertoire, like a good assortment of characters in the game, and I really like the artistic style that they're running with, where it's very comic booky, but it looks very clean, and it's comic booky, but it's animated in such a way with the computer graphics that it works. I'm not very good at it, so that's
hey, I think you did fine, especially as Iron Man. Iron Man. Paul was playing, and he's playing as Spider-Man at first because I was playing with Venom. I was like, oh, there's a little bonus here. And Spider-Man is a very interesting character because you have to get up in the mix and hit people, but then you have to run away immediately because your health bar is this big.
Yeah, he's very hit and run.
Very squishy, very like a lot of damage, but a glass cannon. And then when you played as Iron Man, you were just like able to keep your distance and float around the battlefield, and you were like, oh, this is going much better as I'm just you're blowing people up across the map. So I do think that there is, while the game is, I feel like an Overwatch clone and the characters are very much Overwatch characters, they all feel like remixed Overwatch characters in a way that feels pretty good. Like, I feel like Star-Lord is part Soldier 76, part Tracer, and all the characters are kind of like blended together in a way that I find very fun and satisfying, but also true to their character.
Sure.
Venom's whole deal is you jump into the battle. You don't have as much health as some of the other tanks. You hit people, you string people up with your tendrils, and you do damage over time, and then you get out of there, because if you sit in one place for too long, you'll die. And I feel like Hulk is like part Winston and then part Eva, because is it Eva? Eva, yeah.
Diva.
Diva.
Yeah.
Because once you die as the Hulk, you become Bruce Banner, and he's just got a little gun, and he's like trying to shoot and dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they're in a really good place. I'm surprised that at Comic-Con they didn't announce a release date, because I feel like they're in the place where they could release in like November pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, both of us have been seeing, especially this year, but even last year, like, where companies have been testing a game for a while, and they're like, hey, it's coming out next week. Boom. So they just get that flash in the pan PR of it's happening right now. And so I think the game is very close to release. Do you know if I was trying to figure out today if there were other like game modes. I know that they have a ranked mode in the game already. And I think go ahead.
There is like a TDK version of the game, where you're just like, you're respawning a little bit faster, and you're not trying to hold positions, you're just trying to like kill the opponents. So I know that's in there, but I think that's the type of thing that they could have more of. Like, the more game modes, more things like that. Because I feel like their starting roster is already pretty good. Before this last week, they added, like actually in this last beta, they added Venom, Thor, and um, what Paul the Shark. I remember the shark's name.
Jeff the Shark.
Jeff the Land Shark, which is a great, cool, like adorable little healer. He is tiny and he just like blasts people with water to heal them. So fun, so silly. But I feel like they're in a place where content-wise they could release and be competitive with Overwatch.
Yeah,
But I guess, yeah.
I was gonna say it definitely feels like this is going to be a free to play game. Do you think when they go free to play, they're gonna lock up a bunch of the characters that are just kind of all access right now?
That is what I think will likely be the case. I know that this game will for sure have a battle pass, because even in the beta there's a battle pass that you can unlock things that will come back to the main game, but it's like the 30th level, so you have to do a lot of battle pass work.
Right.
So yeah, I think it will probably lock some characters away, and then you kind of like pick and buy as you want. It would be very ballsy of them to release with all of the characters and just be like, oh yeah, you want skins? That's what costs money. Which again, was something I'd be pretty down for.
Yeah. And then, like, are there any specific Marvel characters? Because there are, like, some staple Marvel characters in the game, and then there's some kind of obscure ones as well, like Jeff the Land Shark, or, like, Penny Parker, who's in the mech spider suit and whatnot. Are there any, like, Marvel characters that you want to see in the game specifically?
Yeah, I could think of quite a few. Like, I feel like Wolverine or Deadpool, probably just because I've seen Wolverine and Deadpool.
Sure.
But they would make interesting characters because, you know, healing is a part of that game. But they would make an interesting sort of like fighter-healer hybrid class. Moon Knight would be a really fun ad for me to see. Or I'm not on just a moon theme here, but Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur would be a pretty cool character duo to see.
Yeah.
As like one who is two characters. Those are probably the ones that I feel like would fit pretty well. Like Moon Knight's got the style, and I think similarly, Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, like she's got skates on and is creating stuff, and then Devil Dinosaur is just a big bruiser.
Right.
Those, yeah. Are there any that you think are missing from our current roster?
I mean, the obvious answer is Captain America is not in there, and I feel like he could make a good tank. Potentially, but it's also like, do you do the thing where it's, Sam Wilson's Captain America, or is it Steve Rogers kind of a thing? And I think with Iron Man and Star-Lord in the game, I don't know, like Sam Wilson's like Falcon, if he really fits, he would be like unique enough with those other characters in there. So yeah, I definitely think Captain America. Trying to think. I think Gambit. I mean, I love Gambit. He's my favorite X-Man, X-person, and or like, I don't know. You could go like Colossus with the Deadpool route. Get some more tanks in there. That could be fun. But yeah, I think Gambit would be great. I'm trying to think of like who would make some good support characters, because I feel like there is some stretching with the support. Like I feel like some of the support characters in the game fit. Like Mantis fits as a support character, Rocket fits as a support character. I think
Loki's support, right?
Yeah, Loki is a support that fits. Adam Warlock, I actually really like playing him in the game because I think he's one of the better healers in the game. But he doesn't really feel like he should be a support character. He feels like he should be a tank or a damage healer or something like that. So
I feel kind of similar about Rocket, where it's like, granted, I do think it makes sense that he's support, but also I pictured him as like a damage dealer, like he's small, fast, and just hits you with a big gun type thing.
Yeah, I think like because he specifically has that pairing with Groot where you can actually get on top of Groot as Rocket, I think maybe that's the idea. You could like keep your tank alive by healing them. So, and like, because he's a gadget guy, it's like somebody's got to play the support role. So, like, I get why they funneled Rocket in that direction. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other heroes that would
Invisible Woman would be really cool support. like, you know, shield bubble making and like throwing enemies.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to also see Cyclops because I do feel like my man needs his due.
Yes. Okay.
Like, we
Especially
could do
after
some
the
pretty
new
cool
not X-Men 99. So
Yeah,
or
right.
97.
Wasn't it
Sorry.
like you almost offended me? No, I feel like we saw that Cyclops can be kind of a badass in X-Men 97, and I would love to see that like in a game. And I feel like Cable would make it pretty interesting support with like time travel stuff, where if someone dies, you could like wind the clock back and like revive them on a short basis, like where their health was 10 seconds ago.
Sure.
They have so many unique characters that it would be really fun to see. I also think Mysterio would be really fun as like a distraction character where you like make invisible teammates that seem like they're attacking, so you can attack them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
All be very cool. But
All right. So here's a better question: who do you think would be an awful addition to this roster?
Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom would be the worst one. No, okay, awful addition.
Is it like Iron Fist or?
Okay, this is gonna hurt because I love him so much. I would hate to see Miles because I feel like he would just be Spider-Man with a slightly different power set, and that's like
I feel like you just sell a skin and then it comes with a voice pack and it just changes his voice. Like, just do that.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. Miles might be sick because he could do like stunning strikes, which I guess Iron Fist could do, but it makes more sense for Miles. And he could go invisible. No, he'd be sick.
All right.
Who
is
would
it?
be good?
Daredevil?
Yeah, Daredevil. The screen is just black.
Bad.
Black Widow would not be a good ad because that I feel like would just be like a blend of
the
Punisher and Spider-Man kind
Star-Lord,
of and Star-Lord. Like, you kind of have that role fulfilled. Someone who I think would actually be really cool. It's cool characters. Ghost would be great because you can just like walk through walls.
Mm-hmm.
War Machine would be a bummer because it'd just be Iron Man. Ant-Man and Giant Man would not work in this game.
Why not?
Getting tiny, I think, would just suck because you'd have to move. Like, you either have to move so quickly as a tiny little ant that it would break the game, or if you became Giant Man, it would feel like you're just like 8 foot tall man. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be. Yeah. You couldn't be like Giant Man.
Yeah. It'd be like putting Godzilla in Multiversus.
Yeah. Kind of a cool idea, but absolutely no way that would work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else would be bad.
I don't know if Falcon would work. I know we were just talking about possibly Cap, you know?
Yeah, I was saying that. He just feels like another copy of somebody else. So I think like it's like you have to get like one of the C-lister heroes, you know, like to really be kind of like one of the investigator heroes who just investigates things.
The Question from DC.
Yeah, there you go.
I do think Iron Fist would suck for a litany of reasons.
Got one
you could
move.
Make him cool. Yeah. That said, Luke Cage would be kind of a cool tank if you just like.
Yeah, and I think you know, whatever version Luke Cage or Power Man or whatever you use for him, like he doesn't really have powers other than being invulnerable and being super strong. But like you could do things where it's like he lifts up the ground and uses it as cover and pushes the wall forward or something like that.
Yeah, that would he would be really cool if he could grab destructible environments and use them as a shield. You know, that's part of the game.
Or like one of his specials is just he's absolutely invulnerable and you can't do damage to him for like he has like a 3-second or 4-second burst where you just cannot do damage to him no matter what.
That'd be pretty cool.
Something like that. So
it's tough because I think all of these characters, Purple Man would suck, and Jessica Jones wouldn't be that interesting.
No,
but so many of the characters that I could think of seem like they'd be sick. Like I was thinking, okay, who wouldn't be good? Vision would be dope as hell.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Vision fits in this game. very much so.
Vision fits so well. The Warriors 3 would kind of just be like Thor, but again, there's enough differentiation stuff in there. Yeah, I can't think of anyone who I would really hate to see. Actually, Mr. Fantastic, the Fantastic Four would be cool. Like a stretchy guy. I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm into it.
Yep.
So
he's into it.
I guess the bright side is like they have a lot of room to grow and you don't have to develop new characters like you do with Overwatch and sell people on them.
Yeah, they're already there. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom, here's the thing. Boom, here's the Human Torch. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think like that's totally been the resistance with Concord. It's like we have to be sold on this character and that character because we don't know who they are. So
yeah. And people already complain about the guy from Concord being a copy of Star-Lord. And it's like,
well, people I guess, oh, they copied the style from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, yeah, they did, and it looks freaking amazing. Like,
it looks good.
What is the problem? Do I play like a military game and be like, this looks like Battlefield and Call of Duty?
This is Rambo.
Like,
and also, Star-Lord is kind of just a copy of Han Solo, especially in modern media. So let's not get too up in arms about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, Marvel Rivals gets kind of an A+ for me, and just came, at least the beta came at the right time for me to like want to dig into something. Bunch of characters I love that are all handled really well. It doesn't feel cheap.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest concern for these types of games.
Definitely. So I'm excited to play it more. I'm excited for its official release and more news about it. But yeah, that is all the time we have this week. We're going to stop it there. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the GGG Podcast, episode 42. We're going to be back next week as usual. If you listened to our podcast and enjoyed it, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe over on our YouTube channel or over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you are listening to us. So, yeah. You ready to get out of here, Phil?
Oh, I was gonna say peace right when I threw up the sign.
No, we're gonna walk off.
I thought we were at that level. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Oh, the camera's following me.
Damn camera.